All right, I want you to picture this. You wake up, it's the middle of the night. Your eyes snap open. Your mind is totally awake, but you can't move at all. You're just stuck, pinned to your bed by something you can't see. You try to scream for help, but nothing comes out. And then that chilling feeling washes over you. You are not alone in the room. This isn't a nightmare. You're awake. And this is sleep paralysis.
I mean, that quote, "I literally fear for my soul," that just hits different, doesn't it? This isn't like being scared of a spider or a scary movie. This is a deep, primal terror. People who go through this talk about this feeling of pure evil in the room with them, like something is trying to get in, to take over their soul. And the feeling is so incredibly real, it can make you question everything you thought you knew about reality. And get this, if you're thinking, wow, that sounds terrifying but super rare, you'd be wrong. 1 in 5 people. That's 20% of the population will experience this at some point in their life. I mean, think about your friends, your family. Chances are someone you know has gone through this. Maybe you have. It's way, way more common than you'd think.
So, what in the world is actually going on here? Is it a ghost, some kind of demon, or is it all just in our heads? Okay, let's take a step back from the pure terror for a second and look at the science, because it's pretty fascinating. The scientific explanation says this is basically a glitch in your brain. A totally natural but super scary glitch.
So here's the official definition. It's basically a temporary timeout between your brain and your body. It happens in that weird, murky zone when you're either just falling asleep or just waking up. Your mind is on, but the rest of you hasn't gotten the memo yet.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Let's walk through it. First, you go into REM sleep. That's the deep dreaming part of your night. Now, your brain is super smart. To keep you from, say, acting out your dream and running into a wall, it flips a little switch that paralyzes your body. It's a safety feature called REM atonia. The problem, the glitch, happens when your mind wakes up before your brain flips that switch off. So, boom, you're awake, you're aware, but your body is still locked down.
And the result is, you're caught in the middle. Your mind is in the real world, but your body is still stuck in dreamland. And here's where it gets even weirder. Sometimes the dream doesn't fully turn off. The images, the feelings, the characters from your dream can literally leak into your bedroom. It's like you're dreaming while you're awake.
But okay, that still doesn't answer the biggest question. Why do people see a ghost or a demon? Well, science has an answer for that too. There's a part of your brain, don't worry about the name, the temporoparietal junction, but its job is basically to create your sense of self. It tells you where you end and the rest of the world begins. During REM sleep, this area gets kind of sleepy. If you wake up suddenly, your brain gets confused. It senses a person or a self is there, but since it can't quite place it inside your own body, it projects it outward. And suddenly there's an intruder in the room with you. It's basically your own brain creating a ghost of you.
Now you can imagine, this same brain glitch has been happening to people for thousands of years. And long before we had neuroscience to tell us what was going on, people did what we always do when faced with the unexplainable. We told stories about it. We gave the terror a name and a face.
And what's so wild is that the folklore didn't create the fear. It was the other way around. The universal experience, that feeling of being paralyzed, of something crushing your chest, of a sinister presence, is what created all these myths and legends. People all across the globe, separated by oceans and centuries, were having the exact same terrifying experience, and they all came up with their own monsters to explain it.
And the cast of characters is amazing. In Newfoundland, they call it the old hag who sits on your chest. Fun fact, that's where the word haggard comes from. In China, they say a ghost is pressing on you. In Egypt, it's a jinn. Over in Italy, it might be an evil witch or even a vicious cat called the pandafek. And in Japan, the term is kanashibari, which means to be bound by metal. See the pattern? The names are different, but the story is always the same. Paralyzed and being crushed.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if the brain glitch is just one explanation? What if those ancient stories were onto something? What if these things people are seeing aren't just hallucinations? This is where we dive into a totally different way of looking at this, and it comes from the book that inspired this whole explainer, Dark Intrusions by Lewis Proud.
Now listen to this. This is from the author himself. To him, this isn't some dream bleeding into reality. No way. He describes it as a completely real event with a real physical entity in the room. For people who believe this, the weight on their chest is real. The feeling of breath on their neck is real. The creature they see isn't a figment of their imagination, it's right there with them.
So what's the paranormal theory here? Well, it's often called the astral theory. The core idea is that these attacks aren't happening to your physical body at all. They're happening to your astral body, your soul, your consciousness. The theory goes that when you sleep, your soul can kind of drift away from your physical form. Sleep paralysis is what happens when you wake up while you're only halfway back in. And those intruders, they're not hallucinations. They're real entities from another plane of existence. And, this is the really scary part, some people believe they're energy vampires, feeding off the pure terror you're feeling.
But beyond just the fear, this point of view suggests something really profound. As terrifying as the experience is, it can also feel like absolute proof that you are more than just flesh and bone. You become aware, in that moment, that your mind, your soul, can exist separately from your physical body. And that realization can be, well, both terrifying and life-changing.
So, here we are. We've got two completely different, but honestly pretty compelling explanations for the exact same experience. Let's put them head to head.
All right, so on one side, you've got the scientific view. It's a brain glitch. It's REM atonia. The figures you see are hallucinations caused by a temporary mix-up in your brain. It's all biology. Then you have the paranormal view. It's a psychic attack. Your astral body is dislocated. You're having a real spirit encounter with energy vampires. Totally different worlds, right?
And that's really the bottom line here. The experience is the same for everyone. That feeling of being frozen, the weight on your chest, the shadow in the corner. But how you explain it changes everything. Is it just a weird, harmless hiccup in your brain's wiring? Or is it a crack in reality? A moment when the door to another world opens just a little, and you see something you weren't supposed to.
And look, if that paranormal side of things is really sparking your curiosity, if you're thinking, I want to know more about that, then you should definitely check out the book that inspired this whole overview. It's called Dark Intrusions by Lewis Proud. It is a deep, deep dive into the paranormal side of these encounters, way beyond what we could cover here.
So I'll leave you with this question. What do you think? After hearing both sides, where do you land? Are these horrifying experiences just a glitch in our own brain chemistry, a ghost in our own machine, or is our brain acting more like an antenna, suddenly tuning into a hidden reality that's all around us? I guess the answer really comes down to what you find more frightening, a flaw in your own mind, or the idea that you're never, ever truly alone.
And hey, if you're interested in more topics like this and you found this explainer helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe share it with a friend who might need to hear this too. Thanks so much for being here.